We're going to look at some different types of database objects this week, and we're going to start out looking at views. A view is a database object, just like a table is a database object, and many of the other things we've looked at have been database objects. Let's go over here to our AdventureWorks database. Here's our tables. We're pretty familiar with those. Here are our views. So what is a view? I like to think of a view as a predetermined view of a table or tables. Okay, so let's take a look at an example of one. Here's a view, human resources employee view. So notice the little V they have in front of the name for their view that designates this as a view. They put a little V in front of it. Okay, so let's do a select from that. So I'm going to do select star asterisk from human resources dot v employee. Let's just see what that returns to us. So you can see that this view contains business entity IDs, first name, middle name, last name, their job title, which we know, so first names and last names are in the person.person table, right? Their job title is in a different table. I know their phone numbers are in a different table. Okay. Their email address are kept in another table. Okay. Oh, look at that. Cell phone number type, cell phone and work. I think that comes from even a different table for phone types. So you have your phone number, and in the phone table, I think it's like a 0, 1, 2, or a 3 for phone type. So that the actual name for those comes from a different table. Their address comes from a different table. So, but here is this view that kind of brings all those things together. And this is probably meant for the people who work in the human resources department. They need one table where they can see all that data. They want to work with that. Okay. It doesn't show them all of the data, for instance, from the person.person table. Maybe person.person has their, social security number. We don't necessarily want the people in the human resources department to see everybody's social security number. So we make this view for them that brings all these different pieces of information together. And we can use it just like a table. So we can select from it. We can insert things. We can update things. Now, inserting and updating on a view that takes data from all these different places can sometimes require some additional coding. So we're not going to go that far with it. Let's take a look at this view of the employees that the Human Resources Department uses. I'm going to right click on it and say Design. And it's going to show us our graphical designer that we have seen before. And it shows us there's a ton of tables involved in this. And down here, I can actually look at the code that generates this view. So look, it's a select statement that takes the business entity from the E employee table. Takes their title from P, which is in the person.person table. Middle name and last name, person.person table. So P's, E's, PP is the abbreviation for the phone number. So that comes out of the phone number table. So all these different tables, and we can see them down here. Person.person, join to the business entity address, inner join to the person's address, inner join to the state and province table, which is inner join to the country region table, which is left outer join to the person.phone type, left outer join to the person.phone number type, left outer join to the person email address. Okay, so it's a pretty big, it's just getting basic information, but it's a pretty big complicated statement that we could run anytime we wanted to see all that stuff. We could make a query and use that query to get the information that we actually had when we just did the select star from the human resources view. So you can see how this simplifies it for people that want to see all this information. They can interface with this view rather than running this big giant select statement that they would need to get that same information. All right. So how do we create a view? Well, we create a view by doing exactly what you see here. We create a select statement that gets the pieces of information that we want, and then we give it a name. It's that simple. So let's go back here and try to make our own view. Okay. And we won't do one nearly as complicated or as large as that one. Save any changes if I made any. Let's do a select statement that gets first name, last name, and the email promotion to find out what kind of promotional emails we'll be sending to these people. And that piece of information is held, in the person.person table. Okay. So if I want to, let's do this. Well, let's get everything from the person.person table first. Okay, so here's everything, but the average person using our database probably doesn't want to see all these columns. They may only want to see first name, last name, and this email promotion. What kind of emails are we sending to this person on a regular basis to promote our products or whatever? Okay. So the average person doesn't want to see them all, so we can create a view that only shows them the 3 things that they actually need. How do we create the view? Well, first we write the select statement. This was an easy one. I already wrote it for you, right? How do we create a view from it? We say create view. Okay. And then we give it a name. We'll call this V. We'll start it with a V because it's a view. Email promo. And then we use the keyword as. Okay, so I'll get rid of that other statement. That was causing us an error. So we're going to create a view called V email promo as this select statement. Okay, that's what it's going to do. It's going to get its first name, last name, and email promotion from the person.person table. So I'll execute that. Commands completed successfully. Let's go back to our views and refresh it. And there we can see I didn't specify a schema, so it automatically put DBO in front of it. DBO V email promo. Now, if we want to, we can select from that view. From the email promo, and we'll only see those 3 pieces of data that we put into that view. Now the thing about views is they don't contain any data. Okay? When I go to this view and I say design, I'm going to right click and say design. There's no data here. There's only a select statement that gets the data that this view is defined by. So the only thing we can change on this view is its definition. Okay? It doesn't change any data. And if somebody changes some data in the person.person table, okay, it's going to automatically, the view is going to get updated because when this view runs, it gets the data from the underlying select statement. So for instance, Jack Duffy, if I look at the person.person table, he's got email promotion type 1. So let's go to the person.person table. let's get the top. I'm just going to select the top 1,000 rows, and I can see right here. Here's Jack Duffy, and he has email promotion type 1. But let's, instead of doing that, let's edit it. So I don't know if I've showed you how to do this graphically or not. So we'll take a look at that. Person.person table. Let's edit the top 200 rows. So here we go. There's Jack Duffy. He's got email promotion type 1. I'm going to change it to 2. Okay, when I close it and I rerun this, select from a view, Jack Duffy now has a 2, even though I changed the person.person table. So that just shows you that the view only shows us a subset of the data from its underlying query. It is possible to do inserts and updates on a view. Again, if it's a complicated view that comes from a lot of tables, we might have to do some other programming to make sure that happens right, make sure that it happens correctly. But this is a simple view. It limits the amount of things people can see. Now I don't have to give somebody access to the person.person table. You know, if I don't want them to see that other data, maybe it's, like I said, maybe it's social security numbers, and I don't want them to be able to get social security numbers. I give them access to the view instead of giving them access to the entire table. So that's views in a nutshell. The assignment for this section is to create a view called V employee phone numbers. It's going to list the employees' first names, last names, and their phone numbers. Okay. Employees are the people who have person type EM in the person.person table. So you'll need a where clause for that, right? Okay. The phone numbers are kept in the person.phone table. So you will have to join the person.person table to the person.phone table, do a where clause that only gets the employees, and you'll create this view that gives me a phone list for all the employees in the company.